ready? Are you 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 ready to get it? You ready for war? Live is back, are you ready for more? The waiting is over, it's time to get poppin'. We all wanna win it, just cash in the pocket. PPL live, nothing can top it. Fantasy's back, football's the topic. 50 down for 50 in profit. Boss at the top and we all wanna drop. I'm taking the spot, bury the coffin. Time for the action, not for the talk. Time to get crackin', live is back. And speaking the facts, the champions boss is back to back. Don't have it that often, enjoy the throne. It's time to get off and welcome back. It's time to get started, time for the weak and the strong to be part. We're all in the war, fight to the finish. Mad about trades, but it's part of the business. Do what you need, it's all about winning. Try to be king on the division. Wanna be champ, that is the mission. White with the flow, this is tradition. Ready to go, time for the show. Roll your bloods, get ready to blow. Get ready to hear the good and the bad. You might not agree, but it's only on facts. If you get ugly, yeah, that means you're whack. GENO and Matt, finally we're back. Analyzing and sharing the stats, giving opinions and checking the facts. Keep it six, built to the draft. A league of 10, let's see who get last. If your team stinks, it belongs in the trash. Race to the end, try not to crash. No one agrees, all of us clash. Something like Titan, Spider gets smashed. You better contend if you wanna be champ. If you won't pay attention, you don't have a chance. No chance to win if you don't have a plan. Get a chance at the shit, better win if you can. Yeah, PPL is back, I hope you're ready. PPL is back, I hope you're ready. PPL is back, I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready.
And it's the time we all have been waiting for, a new season of PPL action. Welcome back, the premiere episode of PPL Live 2022. GENO the Gent here with my man Ulysses. Hey, say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, PPL?
And we are here ready to break down the 2022 draft, a draft that had a lot of big-time moves and decisions that I think are going to permeate throughout the PPL for the season and maybe seasons to come. First thing we want to do is jump into that, look over the teams. We're going to do a draft recap, and we're going to start as the draft started with the number 1 overall pick, Leonard Fournette, to the new guy, new ownership. And let's break that that draft down. Starting with Leonard Fournette as the first pick. Then they went and got Breece Hall with the second pick, and so on and so forth. They filled out with a lot of rookies, a lot of young guys getting into their lineups. And obviously, we can't mention their draft without talking about the trade heard around the PPL, the first big trade of the year, where they sent big-time pieces like Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley off to squad underestimated their week 1 opponent. Man, what did you think of the draft from Mr. Stout, our new guy?
Yeah, I mean, Trey Fitty, welcome to the league. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this draft quite yet. It started with some of these offseason moves. I thought there was too many of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was quite unnecessary, I thought. But more importantly, I mean, the Trey Lance situation, I think is I've got so many more question marks with that Jimmy Garoppolo trade.
Okay.
Not happening.
Right.
Contract extension. That to me speaks to management's confidence around Trey Lance. This team's built around him.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I mean, he's got nobody behind him. So I think that too many offseason moves, relying on people that I don't necessarily think are going to be there. I think that this team's got a young and dumb approach. May catch some people slipping. But overall, I was not blown away. And then, I mean, we got to start it off. Leonard Fournette pick, controversy around how that pick was made.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if this team really got off to the right foot on the draft, and maybe that impacted decisions throughout. I was not in love with this move.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've had all off season to make that move, and you let it go down to the 10-second mark. For who, for why, for what? That just had me scratching my head from the beginning. But, I mean, this team's had me scratching my head pretty much since they've joined. They got stimulus packages from, basically the top of the league. They got stimulus packages in the Tyreek and Dak Prescott trade. Yes, they did give up Justin Herbert. Even if they don't make that trade, you keep Justin Herbert. You keep Dak Prescott. You keep Tyreek Hill. If you don't trade Michael Thomas, you keep Michael Thomas. You trade him off. You get Saquon Barkley. You keep Saquon Barkley. I don't really want to hear much from this team about the roster they started with, because the roster that they ended up having before those trades was solid enough for them to make some noise this season. Not saying that they won't, but they made their own road a lot more harder than they needed to be. I'm with you on the Trey Lance situation. I don't get it. I thought that Dak would have been the better pickup. Trey Lance is completely unproven. I know that he's getting a lot of hype this offseason, but hype's everywhere, and hype doesn't pay the bills. Dak Prescott had the best passing season of his career last year, and you just shoot that off for no reason. Didn't get that there. A 3-down back in Saquon Barkley, who has no competition for carries, but you want to keep Cam Akers, who is definitely going to be in a committee. And one more thing. I mean, you pick Leonard Fournette #1 overall. Whether he meant to do it or not, he needs to mean to get him into the lineup this week against Dallas. He's going to get dump-offs. If they're near the goal line, yeah, Brady likes to throw to Evans on the goal line, but he's also the first running back who's going to get goal line touches. So that's a thing that I think that they need to look at there. The reliance on the New York Jets, they're keeping Elijah Moore when they could have just kept Tyreek Hill. It's just a lot of head-scratching decisions. They went young pretty much everywhere. I'm looking at London, Burks, and Rachaad White. Now, I understand the White pickup because you did get Leonard Fournette. You kind of want to handcuff that. But, I mean, they just left a lot to be desired for a team that, came in, got a stimulus package, and basically use the stimulus money to buy fentanyl-laced cocaine to kill themselves. I don't get what they're doing here, but, maybe there's a larger plan around. I think that Trey Fitty is actually going to stand for their winning percentage if they keep making decisions like that. Moving on to the #2 pick, we got the Baby Gas team. Obviously, that pick was traded for Ezekiel Elliott. What did you think of that trade and their draft overall? Some of their draft highlights included Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Harris, so they did try to fix that backfield. I like the Marquise Valdez-Scantling pick, and they even went out and got Dawson Knox at tight end. What do you think of and Joe Burrow as their new quarterback? What do you think of the BGT?
Well, I'll say I like the trade a lot more than I. I say that because I think Zeke gives this team a really unique look, especially at running back. I mean, I like this Zeke, Josh Jacobs, J.K. Dobbins, Cooper line coming in.
Right.
What I hate is Joe Burrow pick that they eventually got in that second round.
Right.
To me, again, they could have gone with some needed depth at receiver.
Okay.
Could have addressed tight end at this spot. Joe Burrow would have been available, I think, in maybe even 2-3 rounds later. I think that looking down this, McPherson, kicker way too early.
Okay.
I like Valdez-Scanlon, Boyd, Edwards-Helaire, Winston. These are late round quality picks.
Right.
But I think early on, he needed to, not having a first-round pick, needed to come out and address something that I think he could have done better than Joe Burrow. Not knocking Joe Burrow. I mean,
yeah.
I think that he can definitely be the guy. But I think he suffered, some quality flex play right off the bat. But we'll see. I mean, he's called running back heavy. So maybe he's thinking, I've got my lineup set and I want it to be good at QB. BGT overall, though, I mean, I think that this is a competitive lineup.
Yeah, I do too.
I love the trade. I think it puts him right in the spot to be competitive.
Right.
I mean, again, I just think he didn't capitalize as much as he could have. I expect the BGT to be competitive this season.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually give him a break on the Joe Burrow pick. I mean, when guys are picking a second quarterback in the second round of the draft, and this guy hadn't even got his first one yet, I can kind of see why he just went on ahead and secured his guy. And I mean, let's not act like Joe Burrow doesn't have ridiculous weapons around him in Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase. I mean, Joe Burrow could be due for a big breakout. I mean, this guy had, I think, 2 or 3 35-plus point matchups. So if it cracks for Joe, it really, really cracks. And I think that I'm not going to go too hard on him on that pick. Overall, I did think their draft was solid. I think you're right, though. They probably could have addressed receiver a little bit earlier. But I think they kept like 3 receivers, so I can understand why they thought that they could wait there. I like the Dawson Knox pick. This was a thing that the BGT ownership talked about, getting a better tight end in their lineup. They say that position has been what's killed them in years past, where they got little to no production from that, and they're playing somebody who gets big production from that. And I think Dawson Knox kind of puts a Band-Aid on that wound. And I think Joe Burrow's due for a good year. I'm with you on the backfield. Jacobs and Elliott, 2 guys who are going to be in offenses that are going to move up and down the football field, who are going to get goal line work. Goal line work in the PPL is massive. And to get Ezekiel Elliott, who even the Argonauts look like they're out on, and they got this guy in their lineup, Zeke can make the Argo pay as soon as week 1. So I like what the BGT did this offseason, and it's going to be interesting to see how that matchup shakes out, to see if this new approach gets them going. And I actually did like their draft, so I'm not going to go too hard on them. I like the trade for them. Some say that, they could have used more leverage with that second pick, but they still got a rock-solid starter, better than, most draft picks in the PPL, getting Ezekiel Elliott in that lineup. So especially as far as rankings go, the BGT did very, very well there. All right, man, let's go to our third pick, one of our favorite guys, the Gaff, man. What did you think of his draft? Obviously, kept Javonte Williams. I love the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts connection. But then the head scratcher, Russell Wilson, early in the second round, or midway through the second round, excuse me. And A.J. Dillon was a good pick. James Cook was the sleeper pick here. I don't understand the Kenny Walker pick, but hey, the Gaff is going to go to the beat of his own drum. What did you think of the Gaff's draft? One of his better drafts, I feel like.
I actually didn't really like this draft.
Okay.
On draft night. I don't know how I feel about it since draft night.
DK Metcalf was a head scratcher.
Yeah. I mean, I love the keepers. A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, that really couldn't have worked any better.
Right.
I think he has key guys on good teams, but again, there was no need for Russ.
Okay.
Here.
Agreed.
Jalen Hurts, I've talked a lot of trash about Jalen Hurts. In fantasy, the guy's great.
Right.
And has been. There was no need for that Russell Wilson pick. Maybe he's thinking trade bait here. Maybe he's thinking about injury. But really, it was just a lot of Russ. This guy has a lot of Denver guys, a lot of Seattle guys.
Right.
I'm just not so sure about Seattle without Russ. I don't. Again, DK is one of the premier wide receivers. Has been a mainstay in the PPL, and I'm just not sure with Fox under center what that's going to look like. Kenneth Walker, another guy coming off of an injury in Seattle, and then he goes Broncos coach. So I think that's probably one of his better picks for the Denver side. Because again, it's a Monday night coach.
Right.
I would just looking at his week 1 matchup though, I wouldn't be surprised if Russell doesn't crack the lineup. I don't know what he's doing by picking him there. But if you're picking him that high, you must be considering having him start. And so maybe he doesn't want to go to A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Maybe he thinks he's going to get that production out of A.J. anyway.
Right.
Again, I love this draft on draft night. I still think it's solid. I just don't know. I'm left with a few questions on further examination. But overall, I agree. I think the Gap did what they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't always sexy with this team, but I think it was effective.
No, I'm with you, man. I thought the one tactical error I thought they made was dropping Leonard Fournette. For who, for why, for what? If you keep Fournette, and then you maybe let Rashad Bateman or A.J. Dillon go, you got that guy at number 3, no question. I thought that was probably a tactical error. Instead of picking up a DK Metcalf, you could have just retained Leonard Fournette, along with picking one of the guys that you wanted to keep. I hear he's very high on Rashad Bateman, and I can understand that. Other than that, though, I'm with you. The Russell Wilson pick was for who, for why, for what. But, hey, he's got depth at the position. Jalen Hurts is a scrambling quarterback. If an injury befalls him, the Gaff is still in pretty good shape. I'll give him that there, but I still that was still a head scratcher. But I expect the Gaff to have a bounce back season and be contending for that Omega title off the strength of those keepers and off of a solid draft. All right, let's go to our next guy, the Prince of the 2021 draft last year, the Skulls. Not as princely this year, man. I thought that the Amari Cooper pick was a way too early pick. I did like Ramondre Stevens, but I don't understand them spending so much capital on quarterback. Matthew Stafford and Trevor Lawrence, when you got Josh Allen, a set it and forget it guy. I think that's one thing that they got to improve on. Other than that, they've got a rock-solid lineup across the board. They did do good getting the Ravens defense. I thought that was a good defensive pick for this season. I think Russell Gage could blow up, and I love the Ramondre Stevenson pick. What did you think of the Skulls?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that they have a quality front line. I mean, just as far as keepers go, I think this is a solid line.
Right.
Aaron Jones, I think, is going to be competing for number one RB all season. I think Josh Allen and company, I love this guy's keeper set. I think that they have high potential. I don't like his first two picks. I mean, Ramondre, I can definitely see, but I think there was a theme, man. There was a lot of questionable picks in those first two rounds. Maybe a little, people were just a little, I don't know. It just seems to be pervasive that people, I think, reached a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure why. But as you look, I mean, this settled down, with exception. I mean, they handicapped themselves for me with three quarterbacks. I mean, if you have Josh Allen, there's no need to even have a backup quarterback.
Unless there's a bye.
He's strong. I mean, and there's not a bye for a minute for Josh Allen. So, I mean, again, doesn't make sense to draft that. Not sure what impacted him getting so many quarterbacks. And I think it's just made his depth a little thin. He's got question marks
at other spots,
here. I mean, again, Ramondre, unproven. Darrell Mooney, I mean, we don't know what's going to come out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Melvin Gordon, I mean, I think he's open hill at this point.
Right.
I mean, and then there's a lot of just young guys. So I don't understand it. Even like the second pick, I don't think he needs a backup tight end. I think his front line to me is incredibly strong. I don't know how much depth is going to be here, but this is an able owner who always improves on the waiver as well.
Oh, they're one of the best waiver teams, yeah.
Competitive throughout. Again, I just questioned the first two picks, and from there, nothing really sexy happened, but should still be very competitive.
You know, I'm with you, man. I'm thinking that he was going by super flex rules here. I mean, Matthew Stafford would be a great super flex QB, but he's not going to be able to use Stafford without sacrificing Allen. Maybe he's looking at a trade. That's what I started to think. Maybe some of these teams are preparing for a trade. The problem with that is that the PPL isn't very active in the trade market very often. So I don't see if that's a sound tactical play. I'm going to go the other way on Ramondre. I think Ramondre Stevenson could be on the verge of a breakout. He's a 3-down back, and when Bill Belichick does have a 3-down back, that guy's going to get usage on the goal line in the receiving game. And if Ramondre can kind of make it a 70-30 split with Damian Harris, Ramondre could really blow up. Melvin Gordon, I think he's still going to peck at Javonte Williams. I think that we want it to be Javonte's backfield, but I think Melvin Gordon has something to say about that, so I like that pick there. I'm with you on the quarterbacks, but other than that, the Skulls have shown that, hey, they're going to wheel and deal. They're going to make moves throughout the season, and they're still going to be a team to be reckoned with that front line led by Josh Allen. So I still like the Skulls for the season, not as much their draft as much as I liked last year's draft. All right, next, squad underestimated. Okay, they didn't have a first-round pick, but they didn't need a first-round pick. I thought they did extremely well, had one of their best drafts ever, and this is a original 5 team. So when I say they had one of their best drafts ever, I'm really saying something here. I love the Ayuk pick. I love the Raheem Mostert pick. I like Tua as a backup, Tyler Lockett as a lottery play, and then they got really good depth late. Jahan Dotson, Njoku, Julio Jones, who could be on the verge of blowing up with Tom Brady, and then our boy Nyheim Hines. What you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, this is the second season in a row that squads come in riding a big trade, trade. I think that this one was masterful. Getting a guy like Tyreek Hill and getting Saquon. Saquon came home.
Right, Saquon came home.
I mean, a lot of people maybe not remembering the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season last year. Kyler Murray was looking unstoppable.
Right.
I think Kyle Pitts' situation. I mean, we're going to learn a lot about him and the importance he's going to play. I mean, this guy was highly picked last season by squad. He's invested keeper in him.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if this is him following the ghost of not keeping Mark Andrews.
Okay.
We're hoping that plays out. But I'm with you, man. This was a great draft. I think that he got a lot of quality players, frankly, on shitty teams,
Right.
which factors well for garbage time.
Exactly.
I look at like Lockett, Dotson, and Jones, and these are just guys like that are wild cards.
Right.
I mean, same with DK up. We were just talking about it, but we don't know what's going to happen out of Seattle. But I mean, Lockett, Jahan Dotson, first round pick. I mean, could go off, and then again, Julio hasn't played in a year and is going to a guy like Thumb that has regenerated several careers.
Right.
So I think that squad was sneaky good in this draft, and I'll say, like, I thought it was good on draft night. I think in hindsight it was a great draft.
Yeah.
Squad.
Yeah.
And,
considering they didn't have a first round pick, they've knocked it out of the park.
Well, and I mean, this is maybe something different. Like you just said, EPL has not traditionally been a draft-heavy league, and I think that maybe this offseason something maybe shifted. Because we saw a lot of trades happening with a lot of different teams.
Yeah.
That were pretty sizable involving draft picks, pretty complex trades, which I think is great. I think it changes the composition and what's possible. I think Squad was by far the team that I thought won the offseason in the offseason trade market,
right,
and went right into the draft with that momentum, and for me, almost won the draft.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that when I look at this, I mean, they really welcomed Trey Fiddy to the PPL. That was a speculum insert we saw with that trade, and Squad just went on to carry it onto the draft. Like you said, but I have to go back to something that you said last year. I think we're in another season of no excuses for Squad underestimated. We've got to see some big things here because they fell on their face flat. They did make the playoffs, but they barely made it as a 6th seed with that roster. They may be continuing to break the Argonauts' 3-year stranglehold on the Alpha Conference. So we'll see about that. Moving on to the next team, Appease the Gods. All right, man. So ATG, I didn't really like their draft this year. It's Devin Singletary and Dak Prescott as their first 2 picks. I thought they could have went receiver early and really made that their flex play. Other than that, though, I felt like they recovered later on. I love the Christian Watson pick. I love that they got Devonta Smith back. And even Freiermuth, I mean, if Mark Andrews was to go down, I think Freiermuth is going to be very productive tight end. And then the lottery ticket and Sky Moore. ATG started bad, but I felt like they recovered towards the end of the draft. I love the Brian Robinson pick on the IR, giving them a free extra roster spot, as well as giving them a young rookie who's ready to explode in the backfield if he can avoid the gunshots. What you think of their draft, man?
I mean, I don't know what the hell ATG was thinking.
Okay.
I mean, let's go. Let's open it up. I mean, Devin Singletary there, I mean, was not the play. I think Cortland Sutton in hindsight, where he should have gone, I agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, again, going with a running back there where even right now, I mean, I'm not sure that Devin Singletary is even the 3rd best running back on this lineup.
Wow.
As I've looked at this draft, I mean, Cordarrelle Patterson probably
definitely
projects more points as this goes on. Also, like, what the hell are you doing picking that Prescott? Right. Again, few teams in the Omega on that Superflex stuff. Not exactly sure what he was thinking. But as you said, mid to late round quality pickups. I do also agree that Watson, Sky Moore, and Brian Robinson, there's potential here. I mean, I can tell you this is Appease the Gods definitely showing one thing that he has been somewhat decent at, again, trying to find that talent late in the draft. I think this is the big difference in a 16 keeper, though, is sometimes guys go a little bit earlier in the draft trying to get that rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you need to get that tried and true talent and then reach later on. I mean, it's not even a reach. You're talking about guys getting in the, you're getting into double-digit rounds where some of these guys are getting taken. So, I mean, if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, oh well. But I think he could have done much better with those first 2 picks.
Yeah.
Again, cleaned up the act, but again, not a big fan of Appease the Gods strategies.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what Pate's algorithm was calculating with those first 2, but like I said, I thought that they recovered okay. And I mean, in the chance, hey, maybe you can shop a Lamar and get something big back in return and throw Dak Prescott into the lineup as a starting quarterback. I mean, it's not a bad problem to have, but it can be annoying watching one of these guys go off on your bench while the other one's struggling. So that's the one thing that I would say. They could have went Cortland Sutton or even Jerry Jeudy at the receiver spot, and I feel like that would have helped bolster their flex a little bit more. But, I mean, this team still has Joe Mixon and Lamar Jackson. I love the Michael Thomas trade in the offseason. They never really bought into Saquon Barkley, and, I mean, if you don't buy into a guy, it's best to just get him off your roster. They didn't need him based on the running backs they had. And I think Michael Thomas does cover up a big hole at the receiver position that we've been talking about. So while things weren't great, I thought the trade was sound, getting Michael Thomas, who I think is going to come back into a large target role. And obviously you got Mike Evans, the biggest red zone threat on a team that moves the ball up and down the field. And I think Lamar Jackson, he playing for that big money, and I think that ATG could reap some of those benefits. Moving on next, the United Players, the Destroyers. All right, man, so the UP, I love their keepers. I loved all 6 of their keepers, even the Juju Smith-Schuster keep. I thought that was smart. And I didn't think their draft was great. This is another Omega team. Derek Carr, Justin Fields, when you got Tom Brady on squad. But I did like Jerry Jeudy. I like the D-Hop pick for later on in the year. And then Kareem Hunt is a solid play. What do you think of the United Players?
It's so hard for me to look at this team and feel anything other than disgust at how they go about drafting.
Wow.
It's stressful every draft.
Right.
Just watching the UP join and the office. You don't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
At least auto pick contract.
Hey, you got to go grab that beer.
I don't know what to feel about the UP's draft. I mean, again, I don't even remember which picks were his.
Yeah.
Or auto picks. Why do you have 3 QBs? Right, you have Brady, which means you don't need any others unless there's a bye. And I mean, Carr and Fields and back-to-back picks in the 13th and 14th rounds. I'm just scratching my head. I don't get it.
Yeah.
He could though, because, and this is to your point, that starting lineup is sick. I mean, Derrick Henry had this guy in position last season. There isn't a guy on here that any other team wouldn't have kept. Right. And so when you're in that situation, you can do some head scratching shit. I've got the UP playing spoiler all season,
right,
and getting wins that are really going to annoy people. So I think that the UP again did okay, but again, when you're bouncing back and forth between auto pick, I don't know how much to respect your line.
Yeah, man, I don't think they're a spoiler at all. I think this is a team that you're going to have to spoil their year and spoil their winning season, because they're rock solid at all the right spots. I know that you're a little hard on them, man. I thought that the Dallas Goedert pick was a good tight end pickup to solidify that front line. Broncos D was a good pick. And, I mean, Bucks coach, a little more risky this year, but it's still the connection with his QB. I love the Jerry Jeudy pickup. That's a guy that for good depth. And like I said, I like D-Hop. So I'm going to go the other way with, on the United players. I thought they did a good job, aside from the quarterbacks. But that seemed to be a theme in the Omega Conference. So what can we really say there? All right, moving on to the next team. The 8th pick, the Alpha Conference champions, the Argonauts, coming off of a 13-1 season. Fell to only for the boss. They really restructured their roster. This does not look like the team that went 13-1 last year. A lot of changes on that front line. Obviously, they had to trade to get Justin Herbert, and they got Justin Jefferson back, along with getting that second pick as they send Ezekiel Elliott on his way. Their picks highlighted by Gabe Davis, Elijah Mitchell, Dalton Schultz. They went young at receiver and were able to get Chris Olave, a guy who some are projecting for Rookie of the Year. And then they filled out with some potential running backs who could break out if the guy in front of them gets hurt. What do you think of the Argonauts?
I mean, you mentioned it. I mean, this is a new-look Argonauts team. They're going with a younger quarterback, something that they haven't typically done. I mean, you've had the Drew Brees era, Dak era. Again, I think that Justin Herbert's a fine addition. When this guy likes a guy, he goes out and gets him.
Right.
And that speaks to getting Justin Jefferson back. He's done this several times throughout his PPL history, where a guy will go, he feels something and brings him back. He happened with Dak, I believe,
Yeah.
With Zeke, I'm sorry.
Oh, with Ray Rice. Ray Rice was the original.
Ray Rice, there you go. But he put a lot of handcuffs out there already. I mean, you look at Pollard, Henderson, and Madison, like 3 picks in a row that just, if that front guy gets banged up, I mean, these are offenses in Dallas and Rams should be going. He had a great draft, really. Thing I'll say is that with no Jack, with no Zeke, we're going to really see who's going to step into that leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
This team typically goes for guys that are raw, and I'll say that a lot of personalities here that are a little bit more quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know necessarily what to make of that just yet. We'll see. I think maybe Content is that guy, maybe Najee, but I think that this is a solid team. They're gonna compete. He was definitely getting value picks everywhere. I mean, Elijah Mitchell, I think especially with what's going on in San Francisco, should get a larger share of the touches. So
yeah.
I think that the Argos are probably set with a very strong opener cover.
No, definitely, man. I agree. I think that, like you said, they go and they get the guy that they want. Jefferson and Herbert were 2 guys that they definitely were targeting. Some thought that George Kittle would be an Argonaut forever. That's not going to happen. They're going Dalton Schultz, but I mean, he's in a more pass happy offense, and he's going to get a lot more targets from an experienced quarterback. So. I think that was a quality, not upgrade, but they filled a hole there with Dalton Schultz. I thought that was one of their better picks. I really like the Gabe Davis pick. That's a very intriguing pick. This guy blew up last year, towards the end of the year, and if he's a touchdown machine like he was last year, I think he's going to crack that Argonaut lineup sooner than later. And Elijah Mitchell, I mean, he's basically the age of a rookie with NFL experience. He really blew up last year, had some really good games. The only problem I have with the Argonauts picking him number 2 is he does have a slight injury history. This could be a pick that blows up in the Argos' face. Kyle Shanahan is known to switch running backs around, but Kyle Shanahan has also went on record talking about how much he likes Elijah Mitchell. And, the Argonauts got their ear to the ground when it comes to what's happening in San Francisco. Other than that, they did go handcuff heavy on these young running backs. But I think that a guy like Tony Pollard has a little standalone value, as well as Darrell Henderson Jr. That backfield is not Cam Akers' to have alone. Henderson showed last year that he's going to be a player in it. And I do like the lottery ticket pick with Allen Lazard. He's the one guy that's on that Packers offense that Aaron has a rapport with already. So if that is able to open up, Lazard could even crack the lineup. It's going to be a very interesting year for the Argonauts, managing the talent, figuring out who's the guy to play. It bit them in the PPL playoffs last year when they lost only for the Boss by only 11 points. If they start T. Higgins, they may be 5-time Pantheon Cup champions as we speak, but they went down early there. But we'll see if they can get back to the top of the league and defend their Alpha Conference title. Moving on to our next team, the Omega Conference champions who fell in Pantheon Cup 13. Patty's Twins, they were going to defend that title. Couldn't quite get it done. But I felt like they had another masterful draft. They know how to add young talent with guys like Damian Pierce getting drafted. And I also like the George Pickens pick. And they were able to get Charles Sutton, who I think is going to blow up big for them. The keepers were unspectacular with Amon St. Brown. But I love Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, and Austin Eckler, man. What do you think of the Twins?
Yeah, I think the Twins won the draft for me.
Okay.
As I watched, I mean, again, a lot of teams faltered in those first 2 picks. I thought that these 2 first picks were high quality.
Right.
With the value that they got. I mean, I think Damian Pierce is set to be the lion's share back in Houston.
Yeah.
Not many people talking about Houston.
Right.
But that don't mean that they're not going to play every week.
They play every week.
and then Cortland Sutherland, to be able to get him in the 2nd round, I think that was a steal. We'll remember, I mean, that's how Jonathan Taylor got on this lineup. This team always is good at getting value in those early picks. And then I look down the roster, man.
And they're constantly picking late. They're constantly picking late.
Right. Michael Carter picked up way late. I mean, I don't like nothing about the Jets or the Giants, right?
Yeah.
But to get that guy that late, I mean, this was all about
and he's the starter in New York, not Breece Hall.
No, and exactly. I mean, there's quality running backs on this team now. I mean, we can have some few questions about longevity for some of these guys
Yeah.
in wide receiver spots. I mean, there's a little bit of age with some of these guys. Keenan's getting up there.
Yeah.
Again, went on a prayer with Amon Ra, but we'll see.
Adam Thielen
I
too.
think that again, Sutton, Thielen offer answers at wide receiver though. I mean, again, right now, I'm looking at a Rams coach on Thursday night, too. I don't expect them to not bench them.
Right.
Power move. I love what the Twins did on draft night. And, again, as you said, took a set of keepers that I would say was mid-grade and really upgraded this team.
Definitely.
Put them right in position to resume a campaign.
No, definitely. And I love the George Pickens pick. This guy has keeper written all over him for the future. If him and that young guy Pickett, if that connection cracks like it was looking in the preseason, George Pickens might be the guy who replaces Patty's Twins' favorite like Antonio Brown. This guy's got everything that you want at the receiver position: size, speed, great hands, and an understanding of the game. The George Pickens pick could be one that we're looking back on like Jonathan Taylor from a few years ago and saying, what were we thinking? Patty's Twins, I guess they're the queen of the draft this year if we're going to go there. And finally, the Pantheon Cup 13 champions, the Slayer of Giants, only for the boss. Man, what did you think of the boss and his draft? I thought that I didn't really like the draft. Miles Sanders, I mean, that backfield is a committee at best. I did like Brandon Cooks. That was a great receiver pickup, along with Hunter Renfrow. George Kittle was unnecessary, but I think that they were needling their alpha conference rival there. And then obviously they went cheap. They're back to Big Chief, and it looks like. What do you think of their draft?
Yeah, I mean, quality set of keepers. I mean, when you return to this, I mean, only for the boss, really impressed, especially in the playoffs last season.
Right.
Really stamped out. But again, I'm with you. I mean, Miles Sanders, I actually didn't mind those first two picks. Again, it got weird from there for me. I mean, George Kittle, unnecessary. Packers deep, too early. Justin Tucker, I mean, again, great kicker, but I don't understand why he did those things so soon.
Yeah.
And again, the guys that he's drafting, for me, again, I've got questions about San Francisco. Again, with this whole Jimmy Garoppolo saga, I still think that messes with the team's chemistry. And,
yeah, definitely.
I'm not so sure about where that offense is going to be right off the bat, and especially at wide receiver. I think it's safe to go with a running back right now out there. Seattle, Cleveland, I've got questions about these teams. And then, like you said, 5 Kansas City players: Kelsey, Mahomes, Pacheco, Hardman, Coach. I mean, as in any season, if Kansas City does well, then only for the boss does well. But again, I think that they could have really diversified in a way that just made them more dangerous.
Yeah.
Is this team going to be right out the gate competitive? Oh, yeah. Did they help themselves? I don't know how much. But again, we'll see. I think he went to fill the front line of the roster before adding depth.
Yeah.
And that may come back to bite him. But again, only for the boss have shown themselves to be adept at trading, adept at waiver wire. So, I mean, they ain't going to go away anytime, and I think are definitely going to be eyeing for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. They're not going to go silently into the night. Not with Patrick Mahomes, Nick Chubb, Stephon Diggs, and Travis Kelce. I'm with you on Debo and Kittle. They almost cancel each other out in certain weeks, so that could be a problem. And I don't even think, I mean, he might play Kittle in the flex here and there. I wouldn't advise it with a quarterback, a first-year starter who has a propensity to run and who in the games that Kittle played, and I think this is part of the reason why the Argonauts let him go. In the games that Kittle played with Lance, I mean, he averaged like 3 points. I mean, it's really 4 points. It was really pretty bad. Go look at the numbers. But other than that, the keepers were so rock solid, and I thought that they did a good job of trying to solidify their running game. I like Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks should be starting in the flex for them week 1. And other than that, I agree with you. Trying to get a defense, a kicker that early was unnecessary, especially a Packers defense that we don't know what things are going to look like there. I think that Minnesota is definitely going to be a team that's going to challenge them week 1. So I don't even know why you picked that early. And they may need an extra defense. I don't mind the AJ Green pick. I thought that was a good one. Robbie Anderson, I mean, he was cursing Baker Mayfield's name before he got on the roster. I don't know how viable he's going to be, but I do love Hunter Renfrow also because he's going to eat up targets with Waller and Devontae Adams taking coverage away. So I think Hunter Renfrow is another guy that was a good pick. But other than that, too much big chiefing, I thought. But like you said, I mean, if the Chiefs pop, and they've popped the last couple of years, only for the boss is going to pop. So that's basically what we're looking at there. And to wrap the draft up, I thought that they did enough to stay competitive. Now a Pantheon Cup title repeat, I'm not going to go there. Last year I did pick them to win the Pantheon Cup. I don't think I'm going to go there this year, but I do think that they will be a team to be reckoned with in the Alpha Conference. And they may even be able to sneak away with an Alpha Conference title. I think it's a 3-horse race in Alpha for the Alpha title with Argo, Boss, and Squad Underestimated. So it's going to be interesting to see. They get that revenge prestige matchup of the week against Patty's Twins this Sunday, so we'll see about that. And we're here to wrap it up for our pre-draft special. Stay tuned later in the week for our Week 1 preview. This is Ulysses S. Haight and GENO the Gent signing off. Great draft in PPL. Good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor.